I know you're working on an article. OTAs, organized team activities, get rolling. What are some of the things that you'll be looking for as we get? It's this week, next week, the week after. So
Right.
there's a bunch of organized team activities coming up.
Yeah, I think they have 10 over the next 3 weeks. The media will get to watch one a week. So I always look forward to it. It's the first when we saw rookie minicamp. So there's some practice, but the veterans are back in town. They have been for a while, some of them at least. So it's the first time we get to see them on the field. So I mean, we got to start with injuries, right? It's about how much can Deshaun Watson throw? Does he throw at all? How does he throw? How does it look when he throws? All those things. I don't know if they'll be answered on Wednesday when reporters are out there, but that's the first thing I'm looking for, right? Does he throw individual drills? Does he just kind of go through the motions and not make the throws? Is he on a day on, day off schedule? Any of those things. And hopefully we get, better answers, more clear answers. Everything we keep hearing is that he's on or ahead of schedule. So what Watson has said. That's what Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry have said. But it's been about a month since we had a real update. So I think that'll come this week. Sticking with injuries, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson might not practice coming off that hip. How about the tackles? Who's back? Who's not back? But among Jedrick Wills Jr., DeJuan Jones, Jack Conklin. So those are some of the injuries that jump to mind, right? Jerry Jeudy. It's the first time we're going to see him, assuming he's here. I know he's been at least part of the offseason program. How's he look? How's he fit in this offense? With or without Deshaun Watson, how's he look? So I think though in any of the other new guys, right? Jordan Hicks, the linebacker, any of the other new guys, but Jeudy obviously is the biggest of those new guys. And then the Ken Dorsey offense, right? How different does it look?
Do you think we'll get at least a taste of that early with how they're lining up and those kind of things, or are you going to have to wait and see?
No, I do think you're going to get a taste of it. I do. Now, there's not a whole lot of offensive versus defense in OTAs. I don't know if there's any. I know at some point you can do little 7-on-7. But we'll have 11 guys on offense lined up, and they'll do that for a good chunk of practice. So we'll get to see at least what some of those formations look like. I'm expecting more 3 wides. I'm expecting more 4 wides. What I don't know is when they go 4 wides, is it going to be 4 receivers and David Njoku, or it be 3 wides, David Njoku, and a back? I think those are some of the things they're going to work through. But it's going to be more, wide open implies a whole lot of throwing, and I think there'll be more throwing. So I guess you could say more wide open, but also more spread out. I think you'll see bodies on the offense kind of spread sideline to sideline.
Yeah, you've alluded to it, and I'm kind of anxious to see how they use David Njoku. I mean, think about splitting him out, and if you want to put a smaller guy on him, he's going to beat him up physically. If you want to put a bigger guy on him, he can probably run by it. There are some things that you can do matchup-wise with David Njoku that I don't think the offense has really taken advantage of the past couple of years, and he had a good year last year.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we started to see some of it toward the end of last year when Joe Flacco was getting him the ball. But yeah, I could certainly see that. And maybe it's just semantics, whether or not he's part of that 4 wides, right? If you got 2 on each side, however the formation is, you get a lot of guys that maybe you don't have that inline blocker, right? Which Njoku had to do a bunch toward the end of last year because the Browns had those injuries at tackle. So you needed your tight end to stay in and chip and block, and he did a lot of that. But if your tackles are healthy, that allows you to play your tight end more in space. And obviously, Njoku, that's something he does really well is playing space.
So here's the other thing that I'm curious. Are you going to pay attention to the defensive tackle? You've got Siaka Ika, you've got Michael Hall Jr., you have they brought in the veteran, the free agent Quentin Jefferson. So you've got the guys that were playing last year, so Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst, and now you've got 3 new guys. I know Jordan Elliott left. I'm curious how that shuffles and shakes out as well as the offensive tackle.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting who's there, right? Who's healthy. Hurst is coming off. I think it was a torn biceps, right, that he's coming off. So is he ready to go? It's hard to get a great feel for the depth chart this early because of injuries, because guys aren't there. But there's a lot of bodies, right? There's no doubt there's a lot of bodies at D tackle. And whether we find it out this week or not until July, how they cycle those guys through will be really interesting. Who's Who's at number 2 next to Dalvin Tomlinson, right? It's probably Shelby Harris. Um, it could be Mo Hurst. Could it be Eco if you want to go big? Could it be even Hall if he, gets up to speed really quick? I think they have a lot of options there.